Hi, my name is Angel Gavilanes.
Hi, my name is Cayandy Ogarro.
Hi, my name is Wilfredo Velez.
And I'm Tyshenia Robinson, and we are social work students at Lehman College. We're currently pursuing our master's degree in social work. We were asked to think of a social justice issue that we would like to address. And with that, with almost no hesitation, we all said the criminal justice system. And we chose to focus on NYCHA, which is the New York City Housing Authority, and the bans that they have when people are applying for housing. Today we are going to share 2 interviews of people who have faced this discrimination and are willing to share their stories. Hello, Wanda. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good, good. So I wanted to ask you, what was your experience like with NYCHA when you returned from prison?
So when I returned back from prison back in 1992, I decided that I wanted to go back to live with my mother since she had my children anyway, and my mother lived in Melrose Projects in the Bronx. And I decided to go back there. As soon as housing found out, and don't ask me how they found out, but they knew that I was there, they sent my mother a letter and said that I could not be there because I had a felony. And I was caught outside the projects, in the grounds, selling drugs. So they told my mother that she could not have me there, and that if she did, she would be in violation and she could get thrown out. So what happened was, even after that, okay, I tried. Me personally, I went and I said, well, I'm on parole, I served my time for whatever I did. Give me, my children are with my mother. I want to be around my children and my mother. Give me a reason why I cannot be here. And they said, well, the reason is that you were selling drugs on New York City Housing Authority grounds, and that is unforbidden and you cannot come. So they even tried to not let me even come visit my children, which I kind of override through going through child ACS at the time, BCW at the time actually. BCW that said that I can visit my children under supervision. So that's how I was allowed to go back in.
Wow, that's really drastic. Something happened with your mother.
Okay, so then at one point, my brother also, they went into my house, my mother's house, because he was using drugs, and they went into my mother's house and they found some drugs. But she didn't know anything about it, right? And they even know that because they were watching him, right? So they know that she did, but they put her on probation. But before they put her on probation, they actually sent her a letter saying that they were kicking her out. They were not going to let her stay in the projects. And I actually had to go with her to the housing court and fight and let them know that why are you throwing this old lady out when she had nothing to do with it. So what ended up happening was I went to a legal aid and we lost the case. Okay, and then I had to fight again, put in an appeal and fight again, and then we won that case. But they ended up putting her on probation. And again, it comes back to the stipulations of being on probation, you cannot have my brother in the house. As we all know, that's not going to happen. That's her son. She's not going to tell him not to come in, especially, if he's hungry, he's sick, whatever the situation, she's not going to stop him from coming. So because I knew this, even though she was on probation, I actually moved her to a senior citizen building where we didn't have to deal with that because I was so afraid that they were going to throw her out. I think that the policy needs to be done with and come up with a new policy. First of all, I think that anybody that has a drug conviction they're not in the right frame of mind. They need help, and if they're ready to be rehabilitated, why not get a chance in going back to housing? If they were let go, that means they did something right, and it's time for them to move on. Discrimination in housing is really crazy because now you have people who are homeless, and what are they going to do? You don't have a place to feel at home, no place to lay your head. Of course you're going to go back and do the craziest things that is unimaginable, right? You're going to do things and get yourself in trouble because you don't know, you don't have security. You don't know what's going to happen day to day. If you have someone coming home from prison and don't have anybody but their families, and their families live in New York City housing, where are they going to go? You're coming home to nothing. People seem to forget that. So after doing 10 years in prison, right, you come home, you have nothing. Nothing. So I'm trying to get back into the swing of things, and I said, oh, I'm going to go back to my mother's house, and guess what? I'm not even allowed there. So where am I going to go? Never mind that I can't afford nothing, okay, because even though housing is low income, I can't even get in. So I'm really just in limbo. So I actually had to go to a shelter for a month or so until I went to my sister's house that doesn't live in housing.
I applied to River Bay Court, which is Co-op City, and because I have legal history, they denied me an application. So when I first applied to Co-op City, they sent me a letter. I received a letter that said, Dear Angel Gavilanes, this letter is to inform you that your application is denied because of the criminal record. They said that I also have a right to appeal to the Housing Community Renewal, which is what I did.
Okay.
I also contacted an attorney. I was very fortunate to be employed by an employer who provides pretty good benefits, and one of the benefits was having legal services, prepaid legal services. So they wrote a letter to Co-op City stating that that I, Mr. Gavilanes, have informed them that the application has been denied because of criminal conviction from 2006, mind you. This letter was dated 2016, so that was over 10 years ago. That was not considered. There was also other factors that the attorneys mentioned, which they called mitigating factors, which should have been considered, such as my educational attainment, my family status, the time of the conviction, since it was 2006, certificate of relief from disabilities, which I also submitted, the severity of the record, and in other words, of the crime, and the age. And basically, the letter from the attorney state that this would be considered by that I submitted an appeal to the Housing and Community Renewal Legal Department. So the New York State Homes and Community Renewal, they responded to Co-op City saying that this is an order remanding appeal, and basically it says here that this order determines the appeal of applicant Angel Gavilanes, which is myself. I'm going to fast forward. They made a determination that this is the final decision, and the housing community remands, Homes and Community Renewal that remands this matter to the housing company, and it directs them, which is Co-op City, to reopen and continue processing my application. So they actually gave them a directive to they granted the appeal, and for me to continue applying like everybody else.
Right.
There is a law from April 4th, 2016, which basically is from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Office, which we know as HUD.
Right.
And that law is the Fair Housing Act. And it notes that the use of criminal records as the basis for denying housing without an individualized assessment violates the Federal Fair Housing Act. And I was still denied based on my criminal background, and it's very unfortunate, and I want to be able to speak out for those people who don't have access to these resources, so that way we can have people that can support them.
Please feel free to comment at the bottom and give your objection to what you feel about this issue. We as social justice warriors are against those discriminatory acts. We are willing to do everything that we can to help fix those policies, to put policies in place that will help everyone, and anyone who was formerly incarcerated to have housing as they deserve. Thank you.